Perfect. Okay. Well, without further ado, we will start this evening off right away. So we have plenty of time for discussion and question and answer and everything. I'm going to kick it over to Chris Penachero first. He's a near and dear friend of mine, actually, from the quarter horse world. He also serves on the Stallion Service Sale Committee for the Michigan Quarter Horse Association. And Chris, without further ado, if you want to take it away and let me know if you want me to share my screen. I do have the quarter horse website up whenever you're ready. You're muted, Chris, still. I think there you go.
There you go. Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Penachero. Very nice to meet everybody. I run the Stallion Service Sale for the Michigan Quarter Horse. It's a great sale. We raise on an average about $70,000, $75,000 for the Michigan Quarter Horse. And this is all by all stallion donors donating their studs. Now, we do American Quarter Horse, we do Appaloosas, we do paints, we do the Roan Horse Association, and they're all allowed to show at our Michigan futurity. And we pay everything back except 3%, which we keep to run the futurity. So horses are from all over the states. We have them from Texas, Oklahoma. We have people donating from Washington, Seattle, everywhere. It's a great program. We have halter classes for all the babies. We have English and Western lunge line. We have 2-year-old English and Western, and we have a 3-year-old English. All the money we pay back out. Everybody's welcome to come, and it's a really great service. You could show the list if you want, Austin, or I'm sorry, Sasha, of all the horses that we get in. We have all sorts of world champions from the paint, the quarter horse. Everything starts selling at 60% of the minimum stud fee. Now, the owners can charge shoot fees and stuff, but usually they waive a lot of stuff because it's all a donation. We're probably, us in Texas are the 2 largest futurities still around. Even though we're limited in Michigan because everybody's got to come in through one way from Michigan, can't come from Wisconsin without going down and around. But these are all the horses. We sell them all through breeding sale. Some of the even stud owners, they put 2 or 3 in sometimes. They're very generous with us. They, because especially the locals from Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, they do a lot of sales for us. And they all come at the horse show. But everybody's allowed to come, paints, appies, buckskins. And we also offered color classes for the last 2 years at our futurity. So if you want to show in the color classes, if you're a color breed, that way they can show in their own, or they come, show against the regular quarter horse classes. What do you think, Sasha? Any...
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, I think that's a great summary. And I know Chris is actually have to run in a little bit here. He actually has a fraternity meeting and a Stallion Service Sale meeting here at 7:30. So we'll kind of flip it here. Does anyone have questions for Chris on what the Michigan Quarter Horse does, or kind of on the regard to the Stallion Service Sale?
Last year we paid out $75,000 at this horse show for 4 days, and we had it in Mason. Because MSU was closed, and this year it's going to be in Owasso. We've already booked the Owasso date in September.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, if anyone does have any questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat, and I can filter them to Chris later, or like I said, get in contact with some. But like I said, wonderful catalog, and like I said, working with these guys on the quarter horse board for years. It was one of our best years ever this year, especially at the convention, selling virtually. So we had one of our best years. And like I said, it's miquarterhorse.com. So the full catalog is on there. There's a whole web page dedicated to the Stallion Service Sale. So if you or someone is interested in the service or interested in either donating or participating, I can speak for Chris when we say we encourage you to check it out. And it's one of the best in the country. So it's definitely something to hang your hat on.
Yep, you can either call the office, or if it's after hours, you can call my personal cell. It's 517-281-4985 for the stallions that we have left to sell. And we had over, I think, 105 stallions this year in the sale.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, Chris, thanks so much for being with us tonight and representing Michigan Quarter Horse, and we'll catch you later.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it, guys. See you soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
Awesome. Well, we'll move right along here. And actually, we did want to, as everyone is here and we value everyone's time, we did want to give a little thank you to all of you. And Tammy has some Michigan Horse Council, excuse me. You start talking about so many horse associations, you start getting them mixed up a little. But Michigan Horse Council goodie bag. So, Tammy, do you want to draw our first winner of tonight?
Yeah, our first winner for our MHC, Michigan Horse Council swag bag, is Connie Nelson. So Connie, if you can PM me your address or contact information, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tammy. And Connie, thank you for being with us tonight, and congratulations. So next we'll move into one of our large representations here in the state of Michigan, which is awesome. We'll move over to Paula Hitzler. Paula represents and is involved with the breeding program and the horse program at Michigan State University. And I know I won't do your bio justice. So without further ado, Paula, take it away.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me. I manage the Horse Teaching and Research Center, and I've been there 31 years, so a long time. And I was a student there in the, I shouldn't tell you this, but in the early 80s. So that ages me for sure. But a little bit of what we do there is, we have a horse program that there's two programs. There's the Ag Tech program, which is a 2-year program. And then we have a 4-year Bachelor's of Science program with an equine emphasis. So these kids could take classes in every single area: nutrition, reproduction, horse farm management, as well as working with horses and training classes from weanlings all the way to showing at nationals. So we try to encompass everything that you would do in the industry into this program. But as far as stallions go, we have 3 stallions on the farm. We've had as many as 6, and we're down to 3. 1 old guy, which we use as a tease horse, and then 2 other horses. One is a young stallion that we use selectively. He has a really cool pedigree, really cool genetics. He's very line bred. So I use him primarily as an outcross stallion. He's not what I would call a perfect stallion, but he does offer some traits that he passes on pretty consistently. But I'm careful as to what type of mares I breed to him. Another stallion that we have, his name is P.A. Marco, and he's owned by a woman from Nevada who, his name is Connie O'Brien. And she contacted me in 2016 about this stallion and asked if Michigan State would be interested in standing him. And I said, well, I'm not quite sure. I need to see the horse. So I flew out to Scottsdale, Arizona, watched this horse win the reining championship there, and loved his pedigree, really liked him as an individual. So I said, certainly, let's stand him at MSU as long as we can breed our mares to him, and pedigree wise, it works out really good. So a little bit about this stallion. He was, he's been a national champion junior Western horse. He's been a Scottsdale champion Western pleasure horse. He's been a twice reserved national champion reining horse. So he is, and what's interesting, he's kind of a halter pedigree. So he's a halter pedigree, but has performed incredibly well in the performance ring. And it's probably not very many horses can go be a national champion Western horse, then go on to be a reserve national champion reining horse and be beautiful doing it. And this horse is very beautiful. His babies are just now starting to hit the ground. The first one finally went into the show ring, and this year he was national champion. I had it written down in the herd work U.S. Nationals, and he was reserve national champion rein cow, top 10 in the ranch riding, and top 10 in one other kind of cow work discipline. So that was really exciting. And then we bred a mare we showed at Sport Horse Nationals in 2019, and she was unanimous national champion in hand as a 2-year-old and won quite a bit of money there. So that filly, I've sold her. She is now in training in North Carolina. So the expectation is that she will go to the U.S. Nationals this year as a futurity Western horse. So pretty cool stallion, really excited about his babies. I've been kind of selling them like hotcakes lately. So I only have 2 2-year-olds left and some yearling fillies. And so the rest of them have been sold, and hopefully they'll be in the show ring, and those horses hopefully will go out and win, and that will come back and hopefully excite other people to breed their mares to him. So he's a beautiful stallion. And there's a lot of pictures, Sasha, if you want to, I don't know if you want to flip through some of those pictures or not, but there's some pictures of P.A. Marco, pictures of his babies. There's a course list in there. So this is just some of my students showing a mare named Emmett Strike Pose. And at this show, she was national champion in hand, reserve national champion in hand, reserve national champion dressage horse. So these students show these horses at Michigan State University, and all of the national championships and top 10s that we've won at US Nationals have all been won by students. So we don't have trainers show these horses, we have students show. So it's kind of nice and promotes the quality of these horses that I can have students show these horses and we can go to national competitions and be successful with students. So it just bodes well for the quality of the horses that we have at MSU. So MSU has been breeding Arabian horses since 1938, so quite a long time. And people will ask me why Arabian horses? And I say primarily because it's a historic thing. We received our first Arabian horses from W.K. Kellogg in the 30s. And then we've been trying to and consistently working at breeding better and better and better quality Arabs. So I threw this one in because this is how MSU got their start with draft horses, and an exceptional group of draft horses back in the 20s and 30s, prize winning horses. And some of the more draft horses, some more historic pictures. And then this is PM Marco with his reserve national champion reigning win. And this is a PA Marco filly. And we're starting her under saddle now, which is kind of nice. This is another PA Marco. What's been really impressive about this horse is that he is a very prepotent stallion. So I can count on him for very specific characteristics. And that's really important when you're managing stallions or you're breeding, is that you want to breed to a stallion that you know produces qualities that you want to improve in your mare. So your mare is going to contribute, 50%. And you want the stallion to maybe fix some of those problems that your mare might have, so that resulting foal is better than the mare. That would be the ideal thing to do. So understanding pedigrees and conformation and what type of progeny and get that your mare produces as well as your stallion. So I've been really excited about this Marco horse and just the quality and the consistency in which he's producing foals. So I could answer any questions while you're flipping through these. I could be very long-winded if you want. This is another picture of Marco. And that's a picture of his Scottsdale win as a junior horse. So he's a really pretty Bozell horse and an incredible reining horse.
Do you guys typically stand stallions for people, or is that just kind of a fluke deal that you guys?
Yeah, not typically. We've done it with 3 different stallions over the course of the 25 years or so. We'll only stand Arabian stallions whose pedigrees will work well with the pedigrees that we have. So we won't just stand an Arab stallion just to have an Arab stallion there. He has to be something that we want to use to improve our genetics. So this is a picture of one of my classes. I teach a young horse handling class where the students handle weanlings, yearlings, 2-year-olds. And then we start anywhere from 10 to 15 2-year-olds under saddle. And then we also have, we fit these horses for sale and then we show in the summer. This is one of the young horse handling classes. And then this is a list of courses for the Institute of Agricultural Technology. So it's a really nice, well-rounded 3-semester program. So it's a technical program, not a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree. So it's really nice for people we have a lot of people who are retiring, looking to do something different, with their own horses or at another farm, as well as young people who just want to dabble in a college experience. And this gives them something to start. Hopefully those kids go on and get a animal science degree afterwards, which would be really nice. But it's a nice, well-rounded program.
Awesome. Well, and I'm happy to upload all these resources and then get links out to everyone that attended tonight. And like I said, Paul, if there's a website you want to direct people toward, feel free to put that in the chat or whatever. So then we can have that for now. But like I said, we'll get these documents out. Any questions, like I said, for Paula right now? And like I said, Paul, if you have time, we'd love for you to stick around to the end as people think of any questions. But like I said, any initial questions we have for Paula?
Yeah, Paula, you mentioned some of the internships that your students have enjoyed throughout the nation. Could you mention a few of those?
Certainly. We try to encourage, or at least I strongly encourage them to get out of the state of Michigan to do an internship. And I think that's important for them because, there's different regions of the country that have incredible horse industries. For instance, you get to certain parts of Oklahoma and there's really big racing quarter horse farms. And, I have 2 students down in Oklahoma right now at Rio Vista, foaling up mares, and then they'll be doing embryo transfers and that sort of thing. And those girls want to get into the breeding business. You get parts of Scottsdale, Arizona, you've got reining horses, you've got cutting horses, you've got some of the best Arabian horses in the world right in that Scottsdale area. Plus you've got big sports medicine and reproduction centers down there that do really good internships. You get down to Ocala area, you've got the thoroughbreds, you've got the Arabs, you get out East Coast, you got hunter jumpers, Morgan, saddlebreds in Kentucky. So we try to get them to go to the best farms possible in the discipline that they have interest in, whether it's barrel racing or hunt jumpers or dressage or racing or whatever, and have some really nice farms that, these kids have been able to go to. And I think that's really important. If they want to come back to Michigan, be equine industry leaders, they have got to go out and see what the industry is like.
Thanks, Paula.
Yep.
Awesome. Anything else for Paula tonight?
When is your sale, Paula? Is it coming up this spring?
Well, last year we did not have a sale for COVID because of COVID, and this year we will not have a sale because of COVID. And I'm thinking that we probably will not have the auction type sale anymore. I've had a lot of success selling horses, in all honesty, for more money via, out of state horse or people out of state to look at horses. I've sold a lot of horses just with really great pictures and sale videos, and I'm actually getting more money for them that way. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to that auction. I know people will be disappointed because it was a fun Sunday for everybody, but I have to think about marketability. I have to think about generating income. And in all honesty, I'm getting better horse sales out of state than I was in the state of Michigan. So I will always have a sales list. I will have a sales list the end of April that I will publish. Typically, we advertise that on our Friends of MSU HTRC Facebook site, and then I'll post those around too. So if people are interested in the Arabian horses.
Thanks, Paula.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, like I said, Paula, if you can stick around to the end, we'd love to have you. And like I said, maybe we'll tag on a few questions or comments at the end. But moving right along tonight, our next speakers are going to touch on the standard breds. Dr. Marota, I'm probably saying that wrong. So apologies. But we welcome Frank and Teresa to talk on that topic. So without further ado, take it away, you guys.
Want me to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Dr. Murata. I've been a veterinarian since 1979, so longer than Paula has been involved in horses. And I was born and raised on a thoroughbred farm, and then we switched over to harness and been in harness ever since. I work exclusively on standardbred racehorses. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our breeding program, just give you a little history. The number of stallions and the number of mares in a racing breed, as we are, is directly related to the amount of money available for those babies to race for. And prior to the casinos, we had a very robust fair program. So we had massive numbers of mares and foals. As Paula probably remembers, back in the early days when she took over, we used to breed 2,000 to 3,000 babies a year in Michigan. And that means we had 2,000 to 3,000 mares. We had 50 to 100 studs. And she probably got to see, Michigan State probably got to do a lot of work on the brood mares at that time from the standardbred industry. Well, the casinos came in, and today there's a big difference. The Michigan mares are still around, but they're just not in Michigan anymore. In the old days, the days when we were robust, Ohio and Indiana, they had pretty much the same kind of system we have right now, where they only had a couple hundred babies a year. Right now in Michigan, we're not breeding very many mares. We've only got a couple hundred babies a year coming now, somewhere around that number. Right now, we only have 18 registered stallions in the state. We have 10 trotting stallions and 8 pacing stallions. And as a comparison, in Ohio, I checked these numbers before we came on. Ohio has 54 stallions, and they have 1,200 babies registered a year. And in Indiana, they have in excess of 1,300 babies registered every year, and they have 85 registered stallions. That used to be Michigan. And you can see what the effect of the casinos has had on us. The big difference between them and us is they get money from casinos and we don't. So they go for more money, we go for less money. However, we are lucky in that recently you've probably heard about the, well, I know you have because you've seen the TV commercials for all the online gaming and gambling that's going on now. And we got lucky and we got something out of that. Not everything we needed, but we got something in the version of ADW, Advanced Deposit Wagering. And that money is going into the ag fund, which is money that goes to the fairs, which means that our purses are going to get bigger. So we are cautiously optimistic that we're going to see some sort of rebound in the amount of breeding that goes on in the state. And I gave you a list of all the studs that are in the state. And there's a few, I tried to get a holding everybody to get pictures of the studs, but yeah, I just found out at 1 o'clock today that I was going to do this. So I only got a few responses.
I was going to say, what
I did get
document was
some. The one that lists all of the studs. It's just a picture of the pacing and the trotting studs.
And we gave you a list, some pictures of some stallions
Yeah.
that we do have.
We gave you some pictures of some of the studs that are still standing in the state also.
share and tell me if this is the right one or not. I'll correct it. Is that?
That's one. That's just a picture of a couple of the studs that are standing. I got a hold of the bigger breeders in the state. They answered their phone. The smaller breeders were out working in the farm, I think, and didn't get back with me. And they forwarded these. These are their flyers for their studs that they're advertising.
With their stud fee
their stud
and their
fee,
pedigrees.
Their pedigrees, and some of them have listed foals of theirs that were successful and how much money they made or how fast they went. That's another thing I want to talk about. Michigan.
Should be more pictures.
Yeah, there's more. Michigan, the way you gauge the value of a racehorse is how much money they made and how fast they went. But in Michigan, we don't race our colts.
That's one of our studs.
This is one of our better studs right here,
Our
Manhart.
top pacing stud.
Yeah, he has produced some really, really nice horses. And but in Michigan, we don't race at fast racetracks. So our horses don't have the fast times. If you look up standardbred racing and you look up New Jersey, Ohio, Indiana, and look at their 2-year-olds and how fast they went, and then you look at our 2-year-olds and see how fast they went, and then also look at how much money their 2-year-olds make and how much money our 2-year-olds make, you'd say, gee, Michigan doesn't have very good horses. But that's not true, because when our 3-year-olds are done racing, if our 3-year-olds are competitive at all, we have a big market for sale in other states because we do have quality horses. It's just that we don't go for much money, so they haven't made very much. And in other states, they race against their worst horses because their worst horses don't make as much like our horses do. And we fit those conditions to where our horses are just better than those horses. So we do have a market for our horses, and thank goodness for the Amish people, because in the state of Michigan, they are the backbone of our breeding industry right now. And they also are the backbone for taking our horses that are no longer eligible to race. So
There's 2 of the 3-year-olds that pacing fillies that were 1-2 last year that are now racing out at Yonkers, and they're back battling it out again, and they're like 1-2 again out there. So they sold for top dollar, and they're able to race out in New York or out in Yonkers because they write conditions that are non-winners of 1, non-winners of 2, non-winners of 3. So they are able to not race in Northville because we only have 1 racetrack, and they're able to go out east and race at like 4 or 5 of them and make good money.
those our horses don't race at a pari-mutuel racetrack. So the baby conditions out east are non-winners of 1 pari-mutuel, non-winners of 2 pari-mutuel, all the way up to like 7. So our horses coming out of the fairs only have 30, 40, 50,000 on their card, only have slow records, but they fit those non-winners of 1 pari-mutuel, and they go out there, and even though they might have a record in Michigan of 2 or 155 or 150, say 157, they go out east and all of a sudden they're pacing in 52, 152 and 153. Well, in those conditions, they just win easily. So that's why there's a market for them. So.
But it is increasing.
We are getting more interest in breeding and more people wanting to buy babies with the ADW and the additional monies that are coming in. So. Anybody have any questions?
Perfect.
Did
I
you say
have-
there's, oh, go ahead, Sue.
Sorry. Hi, Dr. Murata.
Hi.
I had a question. I was just curious, is there any work towards getting the casinos to accept horse racing in their gambling? Or, I mean, is that just a dead duck?
Mike Crombie.
That would be a Mike Crombie question, but I'll give you the horseman's answer. If you're in a business that competes against another business and you are regulated by that other business, what are the chances that your business is going to get any rulings that go in your favor?
Yeah, I get you. I understand.
And that's where we are. We are stuck in that predicament. We have the Gaming Control Board. It controls racing, and every time we try to get something or we get something almost passed, there's been 2 or 3 times we've had bills on the governor's desk, literally, to allow us to have an addition or get a percentage or do something. And every time the Gaming Commission doesn't stand behind us and the governor either lets it go away or moves to get it removed. So we're in a situation, we're between a rock and a hard place.
Do you think that's because the tribal that controls the casinos, or maybe everything's all about the dollar bill, so I'm assuming that has a lot to do with what's going on there?
I think everything has to do with the dollar bill.
Oh yeah, well,
Even though if they would have approved slots at the racetracks in the beginning, like we had it actually on the governor's desk years ago, the state would have gotten more money to date from us with the deal we had with them that they've gotten from all of the casinos since then.
Isn't that incredible?
They had a sweet deal with us. We were going to give them a third even share of everything. And the casinos jumped in and said, wait a minute. And that's when we had the big amendment that went across, and the Indians and the casinos spent 27 million in the last week and got it beat.
Oh my goodness. Does the Harness Racing Association have any help with you guys? Or I just met the gentleman, we were in Washington.
Have any help with what?
Do they have any help for you?
Well, Mike could know that better than me. Mike is our lobbyist, and he handles the negotiations and the legislative stuff. So he would know more about who is behind us and how we're faring and moving forward than I do.
Well, it sure would be nice to see that come back.
Yes, it would.
Well,
We agree with
you.
that 100%.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You have some beautiful horses there, some gorgeous horses. So,
Yeah.
All the best to you folks.
And
Coming.
we're not like thoroughbreds. Our horses are like your pleasure horses.
Yeah.
They are pet horses. I mean, they're gentle. I mean, in the old days, when a harness horse retired, it was no problem finding somebody to take them, because you could give them to your daughter to ride. Took about a day to teach them, to break them to a saddle. I mean, they're just gentle.
They even went
beasts.
to the handicap kids. My mom and dad donated some of theirs to the handicap kids, and they just love them to death.
Yeah, they are very gentle horses, more like draft horses than thoroughbreds.
No.
Cool. Well, thank you for answering that and coming tonight.
Michael, did you want to speak to any of the legislative issues at all?
Yeah, I can touch on that, and Frank did an awesome job. What I would just say is, and he touched on it, is, you know, the gambling is really what fuels everything else. And so there's a tax on wagering, whether you bet on your phone or you bet down at Northfield Downs. That tax goes over to the Department of Agriculture. It funds the summer fair programs. Back in the day, it also funded a lot of other things, capital improvements at county fairs, 4-H. And some of those things have diminished as funding has decreased. We are continuing to push for a slot-like product, something to remain competitive. It's laughable to me that somebody thinks that Northfield Downs is going to put MGM out of business, but that's sort of what they plead, and so we'll keep working towards that. And it's really just a market-based system. And so if you can have a revenue stream from historical horse racing machines, which is what they have in Kentucky, or video lottery terminals like they have in Ohio, that's millions into the horse racing market, as it were. It means we can race more live days. It means it's more lucrative to race. And when it's more lucrative to race, you get more breeding, and it kind of feeds on itself. So we're hopeful to get back to that. I'm hopeful that we can get something done. We've got good bipartisan support in the House and the Senate. We've just got to convince the governor that it's good public policy. You know, and in my world, I'd love to be, you know, partnering with the folks at MSU, you know, specifically on, you know, the horse racing side of it and the vet skills. And I know Frank and I have talked for many an hour on a golf course about, you know, how lucrative it used to be to just deal with racing horses, and that's not the case anymore. And so, you know, I think a lot of folks think about horse racing just from the horse racing side, but there's a spin-off side to that, from the feed stores to the vets, and all the way down and out to county fairs. There's a whole industry there, and we can get back to it. We just got to get something across the finish line, and that's what the Michigan Harness Horsemen's Association is committed to. Yeah.
As president of the Michigan Horse Council, I used to go to all of the Don Reichert, when he was chairman of the Racing Commission that was appointed by Governor Snyder, I believe that commission was. Is that commission still active?
So the commission exists. The terms or the terms for those serving have expired. We've actually been pushing this governor to reappoint individuals to that. In fact, we've pushed forward somebody out of Michigan State University who had interest in serving as the chair. I'm gonna get the name wrong. I want to say Brian Nelson, who's I believe a professor at MSU, who had interest in serving as the chair of that committee, if we can get the governor to appoint it. And because of the advanced deposit wagering bill that we did get passed, while we've got a little more income coming in for the fairs and more income for live racing at the pari-mutuel track, there's actually a small portion of that tax that would go to that committee, and they could do research with it. They could write grants to county fairs. They can do promotions. And so I know that I've talked to individuals that are interested in getting that committee reappointed, but spending some time talking about what sort of research might benefit the industry, just from is it about showing the economic development of, if you authorize a new tool, what that means as a ripple effect? Is it partnerships and promotions with other entities? Is it strictly you know, health research grants? All of those are on the table that I think benefit not just the racing industry, but the equine industry as a whole. So we're hopeful that the governor will put forward some names and nominate folks to that committee, maybe even yet this month. Absolutely.
Another question, if you don't mind. If that committee or commission gets appointed again, would you please invite somebody from Horse Council to attend that? And we also did our economic impact study 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was, on how much billions was spent. And we have the proof of that. If you ever want access to it, we can give it to you.
Absolutely. I think I've got a couple of hard copies on my desk. So I've used that with lawmakers, and absolutely, the thought process behind that committee was really to be a catalyst for conversation. And so I know the folks that I've talked to want to have as many voices around that table as possible, not just from the racing perspective, but the equine industry as a whole. So we'll make sure to loop back with this group and spread the message far and wide if and when they get reappointed.
Can I say something?
Frank?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. I was just gonna say that I'm sure you guys being involved in the other industries realize the effect that the casinos have had, not only on our industry, but on yours as well. Because I know in our area, the Livingston County, Washtenaw County, Oakland County, and Shiawassee County back in the 70s and 80s had more horses per square mile than any place in the world. We had horses upon horses upon horses. And because of that, we had, when I first came out and practiced as a veterinarian in 1979, there were 13 that I know of full-time racetrack veterinarians. 13. There were probably just in those 4 counties, maybe 40 full-time equine practitioners treating those farm breeding animals and colts and, retired horses and your horses. And today, I'm the only full-time racetrack veterinarian in the state of Michigan. I'm the sole survivor. There's none others. There's others that work on racehorses, but they don't just do racehorses. And so far as pleasure horses go, I don't know, but only 1 or 2 practices that were exclusively equine that today are exclusively equine. Most of them now have small animal practices or have stopped doing horses altogether and are now doing small animals. So, you reduce the numbers. There's farmers that used to grow oats, like Mike was saying. You got the breeding industry now, because the farms that were breeding hundreds of horses a year are out of business. The farms that aren't in existence, they don't get any income from boarding mares, that even though they can go out of state and breed a mare, as long as the mare is owned by a Michigan person, that horse is eligible to race in Michigan. But because those other states require that those mares stand in their state for so many months out of the year to be eligible for their breeders' awards, our farms can't even get the boarding bills for those mares, even though they're owned by Michigan people that might be right next to the farm. So there's a lot of hidden costs to the Michigan economy that people don't even realize the effect that it's had.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, and really thank you for sharing, the impact. I think, we get into these discussions and we forget, the topic, and, it's important. But it's people's livelihood, it's people's economics and all that. So, Frank, Teresa, Mike, thank you for sharing all those points, because I think they're very valid. And, the common theme, in the equine industry is the legislation. Again, I think, wherever we look at it, whatever we do kind of is viewed as a hobby or a luxury sport, which it's very good that we all can do that. But I think sometimes we get that pushback with legislation or pushback from support. So I'm so glad we're having these topics tonight, because it's a consistent message of wherever we're at in the equine industry. So thank you guys so much for being with us tonight. Again, if you want to stick around till the end, we'd love to have some Q&A with you guys if anyone thinks of any questions. But again, thanks for being with us. And with that, Tammy, I think it's time to draw our next winner with the goodie bag for being with us tonight.
So our second winner tonight is Clay Frey for the MHC swag bag. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations, Clay. And Clay, thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. Again, if you just send your address and information to Tammy or put it in the chat here, then we can get it on into the mail for you. Moving on, we've got Ross here. And Ross, I did get your pictures. Thanks so much for sending those. But without further ado, Ross is going to touch on kind of the draft horse side of things.
Yes, I'm Ross Hansberger. I'm a 3rd generation Percheron draft horse breeder and owner. My family's done it for as long as I've been alive. But I'm currently on the Percheron Horse Association board. of America. And currently, I live in Michigan, but I am a draft horse trainer for a hitch out of Wyoming. We compete all over the country, showing a 6-horse hitch very competitively. As far as stallions in Michigan, there's a few hot stallions that have been very successful. One that actually in-laws have raised, named Bellevue Crown Royal. I don't know if you have the pictures there. He was the 14 reserve world champion. Yeah, that's him there. That's actually pictured at in Lansing, East Lansing, there at the pavilion. You can see the sign in the background. He was the champion Percher and Stallion in 2014. But he's known for his large size and presence. He's a very, very big stallion. He's 9. He has been very successful. He's actually standing in Pennsylvania at Penwood's Percherns, but still owned by my in-laws here in Michigan. But he's been very successful. He's had lots of offspring that have been All-American, Reserve All-American. And actually now the big thing in our industry is the 6-horse hitch. We hook 6 horses to these big wells in the Classic Series. Tabulates points, and we compete for finals. And 3 out of the top 4 in that finals have offspring off him. So he's been very, very successful and very hot horse in the state of Michigan. This is also him here on the move there in Lansing. Another horse that's kind of Michigan is Shady Creek Mark. He's standing up in Mayo, Michigan at the Beaches. We actually just recently had a sale in Illinois, and he had a yearling filly sired by him that brought $29,000, which was a record for a yearling filly. So he's been kind of hot. A lot of people talking about him, and he should be kind of one of the up and comers. A couple other stallions, this is that filly actually right there that sold. As you can see, the very extreme action she has, picks her feet up very high and very nice presence. That's something that's very sought after for our competitive 6-horse hitch series. They want the action, and this is something this horse is really producing. A couple other quick horses. BP Crossfire standing at Fedora Farms in Cassopolis, Michigan, and Anderson's Lexington. He's a horse by the Thatcher Creek Farms up in Riverdale, Michigan. But all these horses are well-bred horses. Just kind of depends what style you're looking for, but very, very successful breeding horses.
Awesome. Thank you, Ross. It's very cool to see what you and your family have done. And, it's always cool to see them come to East Lansing, whatever, because it seems like here in East Lansing, we see a lot of the pleasure and quarter horses and, or the barrel races, which can be quarter horses too. So it's fun to see these big guys come in and kind of take over East Lansing time to time.
Yeah, it's a great show there in Lansing. Hopefully we can get it back this year. I don't know, fingers crossed, but you talk about the economic impact, and they done studies on that show alone, what it's brought to Lansing, and the dollars were in the millions for the hotels and the food and everything that it brings in. So, it's all the horse industries. That's what I wish people would understand, is the impact with the vets and everything, like you guys talked about. It's not just, the fun and pleasure. It's serious business, and there's serious money in it. And I wish that more people would.
Awesome. Well, Ross, thank you so much. And thank you for everything you and your family do to contribute to not only the stallion program here in Michigan and throughout the country, but just equine industry in general. It's very much appreciated. And thank you for your time tonight. And again, if you want to stick around, we'd love to ask you some questions probably toward the end there.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving right along, we do have another goodie bag to give away. Tammy.
Our third winner for tonight is Mike Crombie. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mike, and thank you again for being with us tonight. Like I said, if you just want to message Tammy your address or whatever, we'll get it off in the mail in the next few days there for you. So thanks for that. Last discussion tonight, and certainly not least though, and always a pleasure to be on our calls, is Mr. Trevor Walton, and he is going to discuss, the Breeders' Classic program. So Trevor, without further ado, take it away.
Yep. Can you hear me now? Okay, good. Michigan Foundation Quarter does a Breeders' Classic. It's a lot like what the Michigan Quarter does with their futurity, where the horses are nominated when they're weanlings. They show as weanlings, yearlings, 2-year-olds, and 3-year-olds. As weanlings, they show once in a conformation class in the fall. Yearlings show in a conformation class in the fall and a in-hand trail class in the fall. 2-year-olds show in-hand trail and conformation in July and September. And 3-year-olds show in conformation, trail, a rail class, and a class where we box a cow, and they do that in May, July, and September. And then they have an overall award as 3-year-olds. What they've done so far is they've been able to give away saddles. They're really wonderful saddles. I may happen to look in the mirror and see the guy that was lucky enough to win the saddle this year. And it's a much nicer saddle than I ever would have bought myself. And they emphasize they have certain advantages if your foal is by a Michigan stallion as far as the cost being in the program. They have stallions that are donated into the program. If your foal's by one of those stallions, you can enter for free. Person that donates a stallion gets a free entry of one of their foals. And if you're not using the Michigan stallion that's in the program, well, then you have to pay extra, and there's more money in there for the people that do have the Michigan stallions. And it's gosh, I want to say the program's been going about 10 years now at least. And right now the crop that are this year's 3-year-olds is the biggest crop that they've had in the history of the program. So that's pretty exciting. It's also a really good thing in that it's not just a one-shot show. It's accumulation of 4 show seasons, and they accelerate how much they get to show as the horses get older. I think too. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention also, Michigan Reining Association, they do they call it the MBBO. It's Michigan Born, Bred, or Owned. And at their Derby in July, which is for 4 to 7-year-old horses and has a bunch of extra ad money in it, there's a separate division for horses that are Michigan horses. And then Futurity, which is last show of the year, which is usually in September. We've had it hit the end of August some years also. At that show, at the Futurity, they have a Michigan Board Bred and Owned division that's been extremely popular and gets a lot of extra horses in there.
Well, thank you so much, Trevor. And again, your vast knowledge of the industry, not only in your little pocket, but everywhere, is really much appreciated. And I know you've joined us on several of these on different topics. So we really, really appreciate that. And kind of ending with Trevor there, open it up for any Q&A. We have a few minutes here before we wrap up. Anyone have any questions or concerns or, topics that they heard brought up tonight they would like to address to any of our panelists?
Ross, what does it look like for this year for like the draft horse breeders for events for you all?
I think it's going to be pretty good. Last year, when all the state fairs canceled, a lot of people stepped up and hosted shows and to kind of make up for that. And this year, I think you're going to have a combination of those people that hosted them shows might continue doing that, but also we're hoping that a majority of the shows will come back, fingers crossed, on state fairs and stuff like that. But there's a lot of other shows that were, maybe county fairs or something associated with a county fair or something like that, that I think are going to come back. So I think it's going to be successful. There's already been some new people that are putting on shows that never have, that are doing it this year that didn't even do it last year. So I don't think there's going to be a shortage of shows. I mean, it's just a different world, there's not as much, obviously, people watching it and not as much money and all that, but there's just such a drive for people to show People just wanted to. Last year they were, any show that was going on, I mean, they had more exhibitors than they've ever had before. It was just, the demand was crazy. People just wanted to get out and do something. And I think it's going to be there this year. We actually went to a few shows in Florida and Georgia this winter. And last they had, I think, 10 or 12 hitches, and this year they had 23. So it's, double the number of exhibitors just because people want to get out and show. So I think it's going to be good, but a different feel.
Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Anyone else? Questions, comments for each other or guests? Okay, perfect. Well, if anyone thinks something, jump in. But like I said, moving right along here, just wanted to take a moment and thank someone that was kind of the vision and push behind these coffee hours, Miss Gail Johnson. She's one of a generous sponsor that really put her mind together to really think on a comment that I made off the cuff kind of, and she was like, "Wait, what did you say?" So really driving, kind of holding my feet to the fire when I made a comment about once a month, let's bring people from every industry together that all love horses. And whatever. So she's on the call tonight, but before I introduce her, we're going to just play a quick message that she pre-recorded. And then, like I said, put her information up there. So I'll share my screen really quick.
Hello, I'm Gail Johnson, independent Beamer distributor and co-owner of Quarter Moon Farm LLC with my husband, Tim Bunce. I'm proud to sponsor the Michigan Horse Council Equine Coffee Hour. Plan to join us again next month for another informative and educational program. Visit my website to set up a Beamer demonstration and obtain more information about this amazing technology.
Awesome. And Gail, I know sometimes your internet's a little spotty with your app. If you're able to just unmute there, we'd love to have you say a few words there.
I'll give it a try.
There you go.
Happy spring forward, everyone. We're still adjusting to, my horses are hungry all the time. It doesn't matter what time the clock says. So anyway, I wanted to wish everyone a good foaling and breeding season and also preparing for the 2021 maybe show season. I did watch some of the draft events in Florida streaming. It was very impressive as always. You can feel the ground thunder whether you're 1,000 miles away or not. And I remember my students while I was teaching at Maple Valley Schools years ago participating in the Harness Adopt a Yearling program. So looking way back, I'd like to thank the industry for that as well. You helped many youth and many kids get a start and have some responsibility. And they built on that. So a little bit about the Equine 3.0 version. It does adjust to fit draft horses. 19 hands is taller than I can reach, but they do adjust, and about 14 to 19 hands. And then the two cuffs can be used together. They're more like a splint boot. And we use those on minis and POAs and smaller horses. So check out Beamer, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. With us gearing up for another show season, we want to keep our horses healthy and happy, and I appreciate what you've said about they're part of the family, because they certainly are. My last two that I raised and have trained are 10 and 12, and Trevor Walton had a hand in that. So what goes around comes around. We're all related no matter which equine partner we have. So thank you for the opportunity to sponsor it. And Sasha's right. I overheard a conversation and said, let's go. So here we are. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Tammy, also. Good to see you, Colonel Don, and everyone else. And spring forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Gail. And it definitely went like that. So without further ado, just want to let you guys know of some other things that Michigan Horse Council is working on. As this evening has gone on, we launched our Michigan statewide trail ride, which we did many years ago, and we are bringing back again. We are so excited about it. So it's going to be the weekend of September 24th through the 26th. So we are promoting everyone and anybody, Michigan or not, come to the lovely, lovely DBRD Ranch. And I've not been yet, unfortunately, but Tammy had the pleasure of going down there, and it's gorgeous. I've looked through pictures. So come spend the weekend with us. We're gonna have good food, good dinner, good everything. So good people. So the registration is open. I'm seeing tickets come in now as we've been sitting here tonight, which is really exciting to see. So definitely go to our website, MichiganHorseCouncil.com, and check out the registration. It's also on our Facebook page. I know many of you have connections with Expo vendors or Expo sponsors. Please, 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 if you have not already, visit our Expo Marketplace Facebook page. It was designed to support exactly who you guys are. People that have supported Expo in the past, been there, and unfortunately just can't be there this year due to the circumstances. So share your news, share sales, share upcoming horse shows that you're participating in. It's a platform we wanted to develop for you guys. If you also have not done it, please renew your Michigan Horse Council membership. We have a lovely new system that is really easy to use. So make sure to check it out. You can do it on behalf of your business. You can do it on behalf of your organization, or if you want an individual membership, all those are options. And we also have the insurance built into it. So if you are going to be running upcoming shows, there's a really nice insurance package that accompanies that as well. Last piece that's kind of accompanying with the trail ride weekend is coming, I think it's May 1, if I'm looking at my sticky note correct, is the Top Trail Challenge. I'm calling it a little different every single time. But basically we're partnering with the app Top Trail, where you get to log your hours. Again, it's an app that anyone can use. You sign up for a membership through Michigan Horse Council, you pay the registration fee through Top Trail's app, and then you start logging your miles across the state of Michigan. Ours is going to run from May 1 to August 31. And then whoever is the leader or the ladder board, not only does Top Trail recognize you within their overall competition, but Michigan will also recognize you. And then at our weekend event, our trail ride weekend, we're going to have a lovely awards banquet where you'll be eligible to win a saddle generously donated by Circle Y. So, a lot of trail ride challenges, I think, give away a lot of, as Tammy said, trophies and stuff. And those are all great, but we wanted to up the ante a little bit and put a saddle in there. So Circle Y was a generous sponsor and promoter of ours, and along with DBRD and Tom's Western Store for many things that will be donated that weekend. So without further ado, if anyone has questions, we'll leave this open for a little bit, but in the best effort of everyone's time, I want to thank you for being with us tonight. Next month, we will focus on, Tammy, I don't have in front of the mayors.
So next month is mayors and foaling and how
There
to
we
care
go.
for both. And then May is, oh, sorry, my beagle's barking. And then May is mounted police. And then June is hosting a horse show. And I'm preparing for a horse show. Sorry, she's really loud.
No worries. Thank you. But like I said, always the third, are we on a Tuesday or what? Third Monday of the month. So every third Monday of the month, like I said, through the next couple months, we'll probably take a break through the summer months just so everyone can enjoy the outdoor weather. But like I said, just keep track of us on our website and Facebook pages and email, and we'll be in touch. But again, thank you for everyone that what you do in the equine industry. It definitely does not go unnoticed. So have a wonderful evening and please stay safe.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Good